It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate on that. You may like it, may not like it. Declaration of Independence, we find these truths to be self-evident, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, of which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It goes on in the Constitution to say we are putting together this Constitution in a preamble to secure the blessings, not only for ourselves, for posterity. And that Constitution followed with a Bill of Rights that enumerated those godly rights given to man, including the very first one, which was a right to believe in God and to express that belief anytime, anywhere, including the public square.
33 million. It's proven to the money investors that people want something to feed their souls, not just their worst desires.
Absolutely.
And
yes, indeed.
This kind of sums up my entire dialogue career on the heat of the night. You ready for this? Okay, this is it. My 7 years on the heat of the night. My dialogue all summarized into this. Get right on it, Chief.
Quarterback to Hollywood, to the mayor's office, and now behind the mic at KXEX. This is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody grabbing out there. Nobody.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable. Free at last! Free at last!
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
And welcome to Alan Autry No Retreat Free for All Friday. I'm old Alan Autry, as always, honored and humbled to have you with us today, whether online or through the radio waves. Soon, maybe on TV. I just want to titillate a little bit. I like the word titillate.
You're used to TV.
What?
You're used to TV.
Yeah. We might work something out.
You can handle that.
Yeah, they run a show on TV. I don't know if it's going to be live or anything, but that's in the works.
Okay.
A lot free for all Friday. Welcome, Bullet Bob. Welcome,
Thank you, Hoss.
Sorrento-Lot, Guillermo Moreno. So honored and humbled to have you with us today, as most Fridays. Gosh, we got to start. Let's get right into this, because we're just obviously not going to have enough show to talk about Joe Biden and the top secret classified documents. Can you? This is like one of those freaking TV shows that you wouldn't believe. The irony of such, that you go after the president. Do we have that clip, Jeremy, at your disposal, where Joe Biden, when asked in a sit-down interview with, I believe, NBC, about Trump's carelessness and of taking these top secret documents, which could put our spies in jeopardy. People could be killed because of this, because he took those documents and stored them under lock and key at Mar-a-Lago, which is totally vulnerable to anybody. I mean, probably the second most
for sure.
secure, right, Guillermo, place outside of Fort Knox.
Oh, yeah.
Is Trump and his money and his valuables there and his documents over there. And that just totally irresponsible. Jeremy's trying to find it. I mean, it's just, and then we find out that Mr. Biden, through the Penn Biden think tank, which is an oxymoron right there. Well, you want to learn a lot? Go to the Penn Biden think tank, most crooked university on the face of the earth, partnering with probably one of the most corrupt politicians to think how they can screw the people more. But they're over there, and apparently 8 years ago or whatever, a long time, 6 years ago.
But he's VP.
Vice President took some top secret classified documents and stored them securely in cardboard boxes next to his Corvette in his garage.
Well, how much
now,
more
first of
secure
all,
can you get?
let's start with that. I tell you, I got stuff in my garage. I don't have a Corvette.
You got secret. You got confidential.
I got secret documents that would just make the hair on your neck stand
seen
up.
All the documents he took from City Hall.
Oh,
when he was-
gosh.
when he was
boy,
there.
we don't want an investigation here.
How do you think I still get jobs in the city, man? I got something on everybody. from the
dog
transportation department to Jerry Dyer, I got them all.
To the dog catcher.
I say jump, they say how high, baby. But no, seriously, what? Give me your take on this. I know where I'm going on. I made a prediction.
Oh yeah.
I made a prediction
that
the usefulness of Joe Biden to the Democratic Party is completely done. He's already passed 2 mega spending bills that's going to bankrupt the country, got us in a war, fueled inflation to record highs, opened the border, and crime's out of control. So the Democrats got everything they wanted from him already to put the country in absolute chaos. And now you got an 80-year-old white man, which, by the way, if you haven't noticed, is not the most popular demographic to be in the Democratic Party right now.
Kidding.
And they're going after him. I mean, his own team, his own lawyers found these documents. It was like dropping back to pass and my own right tackle tackling me. My right guard humbling. Give me your thoughts on this guy. Do either one of you go off? I think it's the beginning of the end for him. He's done.
They found the documents, but they found them 2 months ago.
November 2nd.
Yeah.
4 days before what?
So
the midterms.
Before the midterms, obviously. That was, all of this stuff is strategic. Nothing surprises me anymore. I think over the course of time, we found out that Joe Biden has really got stuff hidden under the rocks everywhere. And this certainly can't come as a surprise to anyone, at least not to me. So I'm not surprised. Hey.
Go ahead.
I am surprised.
You are.
However,
why are you?
However, I'll get to that in just a bit. I don't think this is a big deal at all. I don't think it changes the outcome of him being the nominee for the Democrats. I said yesterday, you gotta be careful. This is a bait and switch. All right. His own administration is cooperating. Merrick Garland appointed a special counsel. It's all too nice, right? It's too clean. There's something wrong. And I told everybody, what's going on here is why did his personal attorneys all of a sudden find these documents? That's question number. Oh, his lease was up at the Biden.
Easily answered by Karnak here. I'll let you finish, but go ahead, oh wise and wondrous one, and then I'll tell you the facts.
What they're doing is McCarthy and the Republicans are ready. They're ready to pounce.
Mm-hmm.
These guys decided, hey, listen, we probably should clean up our mess. So they went in looking for documents everywhere the Bidens have been, and they're probably finding stuff that's worse than this. And they're like, oh, look, we got some classified information. Look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to show everyone the classified information, which might be a vice presidential dinner menu when he ate with the Chinese, whatever. He's like, but all this stuff, Biden, the bank records, the checks from Xi Jinping. We need to destroy that, but let's go ahead and give everybody this. So, listen, I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
Sure you are.
Did we land on the moon? Probably not, but I'm not a conspiracy theorist. So this is what we got. This is what we have.
Hey, if it's real, it's a conspiracy and it's real, what's wrong with being a conspiracy theorist when your theory becomes fact?
Yeah, and it will become.
Then what's going?
It
Yes,
probably will. So that's
you've hit it on the head.
When the Democrats want to go after
So
someone.
you understand when I said that I was not insulting you.
No, I know. Yeah.
If your conspiracy theory is correct, there's an old adage: it ain't paranoia if they're really after you. Right? Okay,
absolutely.
go ahead. I just want to make that clear. I just don't want you to think that I was, being disrespectful of your theories.
No, you wouldn't be the first one to be disrespectful. But what you see here is everyone's cooperating. It just make no sense. If the Democrats wanted to go,
do I have an answer for you on that?
If they wanted him out, they would have pounced a long time ago. It'd be rougher than this because at the end,
I have an answer for that.
All right, go shoot.
Oh, Robert, would you like to respond before I go in there and shred
you seem
that
to be,
theory?
On the verge of exploding here. So
No. I'm patiently waiting because I do have it figured out.
Oh, but wait, there's more.
I am as sure as you could be without being 100% sure. Does that make sense?
No.
Sure it does to people out there. I have that deep, deep, deep gut feeling backed by a lot of fact. Okay? There is so much smoke that anybody in the right mind, and Merrick Garland's in his right mind, though, is very corrupt, and he's a survivalist. He's going to survive this. He knows the deep doo-doo that Biden is in. You don't appoint a special prosecutor or a special investigator, whatever tag you want to put on what he just did with this fella Nur, I think is his last name. Supposed to be pretty good at what he does. Wasn't it? Yeah, her. Ben. Ben Hur? Oh, he's done. He's toast. Gonna ride into that chariot and just jump in. You're going right to Sing Sing. He's seen what's in those classified documents. And if it was a copy of a menu at a Chinese restaurant, I know you referenced that, it would be, I think he would make it completely public. He would at least spread them out like they did on the table with Trump's documents. See here, classified. Remember that on the floor? They had the photo of all that. Hadn't done that, so we haven't seen them. And some people would say, "Well, there's probably nothing." If there's really nothing there, nothing. Garland will have to answer to that. And when you look at what they have now, the evidence they have now, that there was some shenanigans going on with that think tank. Even at this point, it is pointing to a very, very, very serious, not just bad judgment, but crime. This think tank was funded to this point. They know at least $40 million from the Chinese government to that think tank. It's out there. It's out there. They're trying to now find out where that money went. They know where it went. So there's ones that are trying to defend Biden, and if you notice, there's not many. There was this congressman from New York that got upset. Everybody's silent. They know this is bad stuff, and here's why. Biden, when he started that think tank with the university, it was solely to raise money, to get rich. He had no intention of running for president. He was in the late 70s. He was going to get himself rich, his brother rich, and his son rich as possible before he kicked the bucket.
Yeah.
That's what he was going to do. So all the rules, especially for a vice president, where you hide in obscurity. Nobody, when you're serving, but you can make relationships and get yourself rich after that if you're selling access. And Joe, at that point, was received kind of well both sides of the aisle. Great access. They were getting ready to become gazillionaires. Well, they made these fishy deals with the Chinese government. Now, here's where it gets real bad for Biden. It's the same Joe Biden who told Zelensky, listen, you're not getting this $1 billion that we've offered you to help the country unless you fire the special prosecutor that's investigating my son who works for Burisma, the energy. You have to walk away, get rid of him, or no money.
Yeah.
He does. Zelensky does. He folds. So that tells you a little bit something about Zelensky and corruption in the Ukraine right there. They went to work on demonizing the prosecutor. Poor guy never had a chance to even bring a case before. There was enough before him to say, this is bad. He knew Hunter Biden was Hunter Biden, doing the hookers, doing the drugs, doing all this crazy stuff. It's obvious. And they appoint him there, something's up. They got rid of that prosecutor. Okay? Now you find that the Chinese government told Biden and the people at Penn, and you know who else had an office there?
Obama?
Blinken.
Hillary.
Anthony Blinken.
The
one Laura Fisher he's one of the most corrupt guys around in the world.
Guy.
He had an office in there, right? Well, there was an FBI investigation that had been started to look into undue Chinese influence in academia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because there's always been a suspicion. Chinese Communist Party sends their people over here. They get educated. They learn all about the secrets and take all the knowledge that our supposedly great educational institutions can give, and then they come back to China, and they give it to China for free. Okay, well, the FBI caught wind there might be some bad shenanigans, little payoffs going here. Just go ask Eric Swalwell with Fang Fang. This thing was, but in academia, there was payoffs to professors by China. One got fired a few months back. People forget this stuff. Taking money from China, steering information towards China of college professors. So, in colleges in general, the FBI was beginning this investigation, and the CCP told Biden, stop it, get rid of it. Guess what happened?
He got rid of it.
The investigation was stopped.
Yeah.
So he has a history. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Here's a man who goes and really extorts people. It's a pay for play. And this is just the beginning. Go ahead.
You're basically saying, hey, listen, man, this new thing that the Bidens did that's the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
When it comes to the left, even the ones that don't like him, there is no tip of the iceberg. There's not enough cocaine bags. There's not enough scales.
Let me ask you this: was Anthony Weiner helpful after he had the pics, the dirty pictures sent to was he beneficial to the DNC after that?
But he was the elected official.
But was he? But he was a rising star in the Democratic Party. And what? They turned on him because he was no longer useful.
But that's the key word. He was a rising star. You're talking about the sun right here. You're talking about the president of the United States.
You think the Democratic Party really cares about respect that you have this 80-year-old man?
Absolutely.
They have that much integrity?
That's why they
think we're going to let him taint us and go down with him because we respect that he's given 50-something years of his life in service. You think they think that way?
I think
you have not read Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky and the Communist Manifesto.
They do. If they wanted to get rid of him,
they get rid of people who are not helpful to them.
I agree, but this isn't bad enough. I don't think anything is going to be bad enough. This is just another chapter of a shady Biden family, and to the left that hates Republicans more, none of this matters.
I think when Biden said he was going to run again, he became the most important individual that the Democratic Party had to wipe out and get rid of. They knew he was not going to be able to go toe-to-toe with Ron DeSantis or Trump, for that matter. They knew it was done, but for reasons known only to Joe, but I have my suspicions as to why he wants to run again, because the president can pardon anybody, including his son Hunter, who's going to get convicted.
Yeah.
He's going to get convicted. And all of those roads lead back to Joe.
Yeah. Here's the other reason. Oh, go ahead, Bob, and then I'll give you my...
I was interested in your comment earlier about you didn't feel that this was a big deal.
Yeah, it's not.
After what Haas has laid out here, man, it's a very convincing argument that it is a big deal.
But we're rational people.
But
it's a big deal to us.
Speak for yourself.
But when you go to the public, the lefties, the people in the middle, they don't care about the average American doesn't care about.
Yeah,
these
but you
documents.
can get further down the line. Well, here's the thing: I think enough people do care about having a equal application of the law. There shouldn't be there shouldn't be a rule for the elite or rules for people you agree with in terms of application of the law. If I have a good friend who kills somebody in cold blood, I'm not going to fight for that person to get off, no matter how close I'm to them, because that's not the right thing to do. But because you let them off because maybe they have high status, and the guy down who was raised poor in a crime of passion takes somebody's life. The guy with a crime of passion goes to jail for prison the rest of his life. The guy that's has privilege in his life, gets off. When Trump has his home invaded to get those documents, after the FBI told him, look, just put it under lock and key.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he did. And they didn't call him back saying, hey, kid, now we want them now. Can you give him a chance to turn them over? They, meaning the federal agencies, stormed his home with guns. CNN showed and took those documents. Why didn't they do that to Joe Biden? People ask themselves that question. The problem is, I would go along more with you on your theory that they just want to make it look equal and this is actually going to come out benefiting Biden. If it would have been some real inside people that broke the story, it wasn't. It was Biden's own lawyers, but they're outside the system. They were rogue. They saw these and were probably people of integrity.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Well,
I don't know.
They look at that and go, look, we can either hide these, and if this thing blows up, we're going to be in prison, or we can say, because this is what we found, turn them over to the Attorney General. When the Attorney General saw those, he had and saw what other evidence they had, including the history on this so-called think tank, the Penn Biden Center. You got to look at it and go, do we really have the capability to really fool the people, fake out the people, bury this, just not respond to it, which is what they do.
Yeah.
Trump, colluded with the Russians. When they find out he's cleared by the Mueller report, they don't even mention it. They don't even say, hey, they just go on to the next subject. And we're going, no, wait a minute. You were selling us, Adam Schiff, you said you had evidence. You had hard evidence in your possession, and you never presented it. Where's that evidence? He just got exonerated. They just turn the page. I mean, even when they do, it's Eric Swalwell. Oh no, he's Swallow, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they treat us like he did when he farted in the interview. He's sitting there in the interview, doing the interview in the Capitol, and he farts loud. Now, I'm not upset at him that he farted. That could happen. You don't ever plan. You don't plan every fart. Sometimes it just happens. He's there doing an interview, and it just happened to fart, and it was just him and the reporter. Now, I'm not mad at him that he farted. I'm mad that he ignored it. He didn't say, excuse me. All you have to say, excuse me, I know you heard that big fart in the middle of the thing, and that was and excuse me. No, just turn it over like it never happened.
Well, take it from
just like they do all of these other subjects. Don't even address it. The big fart in the room that everybody look at. Did he just fart in a minute?
Two guys in the room. One guy.
Never stopped. Never just said, just say, excuse me. Addressed it, acknowledged that you farted and did an improper thing or kind of a distasteful thing in an interview.
Well, take it from
No, they never admit it. They'll never call it. They go on to the next.
So
subject.
that's your analogy about just moving.
Absolutely, I'm sticking by it.
You had me until you started talking about unplanned farts. So take it from a man that plans them all. Let me,
Are you always accurate?
Oh my word!
Are you always accurate? You ever cocked up thought you had, and then go ahead. Let's move on.
Maybe not.
Here's a couple of problems.
You get my point, though, right? You get my point. They don't. Okay, good.
So number one, these attorneys that found these documents, the personal attorneys for Joe Biden, are not stand-up guys that are going to do the right thing. And to that argument, I'll even give it to the left, because what does the left think about Trump's personal attorneys? So that's number one. So these attorneys aren't saints. They were there. I want to know, and I was reading some stories while you were talking. They were the ones that turned over. They were the only ones.
Let me ask you.
They were the only ones in the room.
Who came to Cuomo's aid in the Democratic Party when the women started coming forward? He was the star. The guy won an Emmy.
Yeah, but there's no.
Now, hold on.
But there's no women.
No. The scandal at the nursing homes where he put infected people with COVID back in there, the sexual abuse allegations and all this. This was the rising star, okay? But there was so much evidence. I mean, you got to think about it. They were talking about him being president. He would do a daily briefing on COVID and won a freaking Emmy.
Yeah, no,
they gave him an Emmy. He was the darling of the Democratic Party. Yet when things started coming forward, they dropped him like a bad habit. They dropped him like how nobody came. You're on your own. So that's what they're going to do with Biden. There's enough there that they're going to drop him, and they're going to give him a chance to walk away. I believe.
I think we both agree.
Mark my words, young buck. That's what's going to happen.
I think we can agree that the evidence against Joe Biden, the family, and Hunter is more damaging than Cuomo, right? We can agree.
Can we agree that Swalwell should have said, "Excuse me"?
Yes.
Okay, go
Absolutely.
on. We can go on now to the less important things. Go ahead.
But we can agree that it's bad already.
Yeah.
And almost
it is. It is.
But most of that stuff was already out there before he was president of the United States.
That he was part of a think tank, a center that bore his name, partnering with Pennsylvania. I'm sorry, your state has a very bad history of not pushing the envelope across the line here from everything from elections to academia. And then you find that $40 million of Communist Party money was pumped into that soon as you created it. I call that a sham money laundering, not a think tank. Everybody laughs at that.
But we have a history.
And where did that money go?
But we have a history of former Democrats taking money from other institutions.
But you're saying, but think about that. When he becomes president, is that why he hasn't taken a hard line with China? Is that the reason he hasn't taken a real hard line with China?
Absolutely.
Is that because they have that on him?
Absolutely.
Well, that's corruption at its highest level.
I agree, but the American people don't care anymore because it's almost as if they've seen too much corruption. Their eyes gloss over. If I were a Democrat strategist, and maybe this is what they're doing, I would be strategizing to go all in with Joe Biden. You give this guy the nomination because he's the only guy that has a victory against Trump. They're going to allow him to go up there and face Trump one more time.
He's not going to face Trump. He's going to face DeSantis. Go ahead.
If he is
whole nother discussion.
If he is reelected, this is the time that they're all going to agree on. There's an agreement already. They're going to let Biden run. They're going to let him have the nomination. There's an agreement right now. Okay, once you are in, once you've done it for the second time, this is what they're all fighting for. Because he's going to hand over the ship about a year into his second term, and at that point in time, he's going to cut deals. He's going to protect his family, and he's going to ride off into the sunset. If this was really the downfall of his presidency and his 2024 run, it would have happened already, and we would start seeing the chips fall a lot harder right now. A couple of documents. Those aren't
just documents.
I want to see binders of women.
No, but here's the thing. Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. When you open an investigation with a special counsel, it starts on the documents, but they have freedom to go everywhere as the evidence presents itself. That's what they did with Trump.
But he doesn't have he doesn't have time. Right now,
what do you mean doesn't have time?
Right now, it's a race against the clock. You know how long these
what clock?
The clock of him coming out and saying, I'm the candidate in 2024.
Well, he hasn't controlled the clock. Barrett Garland and the legal system is going to.
But they're all in
playing by the clock.
They're all in with Biden. So I think that Merrick Garland's not going against Biden right now. I think they're all in cahoots.
So now becomes the question of the integrity of the investigation.
Of what? What is that?
The integrity.
What's that word mean?
that is an oxymoron.
I mean,
sorry.
No, listen. You know who Caesar's best friend was for a long, long time? I mean, lifelong friend.
Which Caesar? I've known a lot of Caesars.
Julius.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
You didn't know him.
Julius. No, the pizza company. You know what? Let me ask this question again. Hey, after my fart story with Swalwell, I guess you have freedom to do anything you want to say that. Okay, you know who Caesar, one of the most powerful guys ever to occupy a political office in history, correct?
Absolutely.
You know who his best friend, never deny him. You know who it was? A fellow named Brutus. Do you know who stuck a knife right into Caesar's belly and twisted it. Brutus. Why? Because Caesar was no longer useful. He was losing the people. They needed somebody in there, anybody but Caesar. You see, anybody but Trump. There were never Caesars out there.
Yeah.
Only Jesus says, gives to Caesar what is Caesar, and Brutus says, well, he owns this knife. I'm going to give it back to him.
See you later.
See you later. There comes a time when you feel like if you're hurting the vision, and that vision is a transformed America where individual rights and freedoms no longer exists, where you are defined by the group that you're in. There is no gender. There is no borders. Crime is running rampant because, you know what? Criminals had a bad childhood, so let them go free. That you're no longer a power on the world stage because, you know what? China and Russia and Iran are more compassionate to people than we are. So we don't need to be the superpower. And when that vision gets compromised or threatened, they're going to get rid of whoever it is they think is threatening it. It is this socialist, godless system that we're up against. The Bible says we don't battle against flesh and blood. We battle against dark principalities, spirits. And communism, that's what I said, is an evil spiritual system. Evil. It's godless. There's no allow of God in communism. And socialism is the kissing cousin to communism. It's like the tadpole before the frog. It's evolving into communism and a socialist. In Canada, they're past the old pollywog stage. They're already starting to grow the old warts on the frog now and how they're ruling the country. Individual rights, ha! Truckers, you want to support your family, ha! Listen, you got to line up and let us jab you with this experimental drug or you're going to prison.
Yeah.
That's the world they want. And when that is threatened, Biden is no longer able to fool the people. And here's another example of why they're ready to get rid of him. You notice he's speaking more in public. When they hit him, they know Biden will take care of Biden himself. He will. They're not good. They're going to let him out. He went out there today, and Peter Ducey. When's the last time the system, his handlers, let Joe Biden go against Peter Ducey? No, it was Karine Jean-Pierre going.
Yeah,
there he is. And in the question, they knew the question was coming from Ducey. He said, "Mr. President, you had classified top secret documents in cardboard boxes in your garage. What were you thinking?" And then it happened as we know it would happen. Well, they weren't out on the street. I don't keep they were with my Corvette. They were right next to my Corvette, and I didn't keep my Corvette out on the street. I kept it secure in my garage. And then Ducey says, "You kept it in you left the documents in the boxes." And Biden says, "Yes, next to my Corvette." The hell does that mean? And so they're letting him go out there and destroy himself. That's another indication that they've had it with Biden. They don't want him to run. They have to get him off the local stage, the national stage, the international stage, and they would like to have him walk away before the legal system makes it.
I don't think any of those conversations are happening.
Listen, this is Nixonian. This is Richard Nixon Watergate on steroid stuff. And sometimes the preponderance of evidence is so plentiful that it's indefensible. That's what happened with Cuomo. One woman says you fondle her. Okay, we'll stand by you. Because we like you. You've been a part of our establishment since your daddy's days. And 2, okay, well, we can deal with that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And oh, by the way, all of these people that were killed there, you did sign the order that killed in the nursing homes. We have it right here. You did sign the order.
Yeah.
Demanding that they let them back in there. You are no longer an asset. You're a deficit to what we're doing. Bye-bye.
But
and that's what they did with it.
But answer me this question.
Did you hear Cuomo? Cuomo even said as much.
Yeah.
And Chris Cuomo gave a great insight of how these people work. You're a darling today, and you are dispensable garbage the next because you stepped out. You're hurting their vision of a totalitarian-run America.
Does Joe Biden want out?
Oh, gosh, yes.
I don't think he does.
Oh, gosh, yes.
I don't believe he does.
He would love to cash out, make sure Hunter doesn't go to prison, go spend his money, ride his bike, eat his ice cream. He would love to do that, but he made a bad mistake.
You're right in the sense that he wants to make sure, you're right, he wants to make sure Hunter is protected. I don't think he trusts anybody to protect Hunter. So his mind is, I got to stay here until I can lock it down. He's not ready.
Here's the deal he will try to make. Robert, I want your opinion. I believe this with all my heart. Again, as sure as something and not knowing for sure. He's lost one son, and I feel for him. But
yeah.
His family's everything. He's a family man.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to, and he's to be commended for that. At his age, I don't know my age, I would literally do just about anything for my family. He knows that Hunter could very well go to prison for a long time. He also knows if Hunter just goes for a little while, it's not going to be good for Hunter's psyche. Hunter's a fragile human being. He knows that, and his mother knows that better than anybody. Okay, so number one, if he could cut a deal saying, look, I'll step away, but Kamala, if it's you, Gavin Newsom, you run. Number one, you better work your butt off and win, because you're going up against DeSantis or Trump. It's going to be a tough go. Okay? But I have to have your word that you will pardon my son. Okay? And he's got leverage, because if you don't, I got a lot of stuff on all of you guys. And what I don't got, I'll make up.
And then
because if you haven't noticed, I can lie pretty good.
Well, then he just hangs around.
Then he'll go
away.
Well, he could walk away then. If they said, look, he could play a health card, he could step away. Then the country would have to say, do we want to go along with this investigation? Well, you know Jim Jordan will, and the committees. But what do you all think about that scenario?
Go ahead, Bill.
Well, that's possible, but I think you're on the right track in that if he does decide to walk away, say this investigation's really pounded, and all of this stuff comes out that's really damaging, I think he would try to strike some kind of a deal to make sure that his son is taken care of, pardoned, immune from prosecution, anything that he can do. I'm really to kind of bring this back around. I'm really interested in focusing on the investigation and my complete and utter distrust of the Department of Justice and Merrick Garland to see if they will provide, again, an investigation of any kind of integrity that you can say, hey, look, you guys did a great job. You found this and this and this and this. Looks like it's been a pretty thorough investigation, whatever the fallout from that may be. I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to do that type of investigation. Now, this prosecutor, was a Trump appointee as a I just don't have that much faith in the system being that fail-safe.
Let me ask you. Oh, go ahead.
I got two things.
Yeah. Good points, Pearl. Those are good points, though.
When you were talking, I realized one thing, and that was
I'm not very good at this. Is that what you know?
No, you're fantastic.
Thank you.
You're the best.
You're good at talking.
Oh, no.
So I don't think Joe Biden thinks anyone else can beat DeSantis or Trump. So I think in the back of his mind, he's thinking,
could be
crud. That young guy, that slick, good-looking guy to California, I know the way the water's running. They don't like him. Kamala sure is, can't do it. So maybe he feels like, crapola, I have to run because I'm the only guy that probably can do it. And if it's a rematch, people will start getting into the personalities again. And when I'm put up against Trump, I'll walk in again. So I think maybe a little of that is hesitation and it goes back to protecting Hunter, because if he bows out right now, he knows in 2 years you're going to have a Republican president. So I think that's fact number one. Here's where I'm willing to concede to your point. So it's an amendment. All right. Right now,
it's the most reluctant agreement I have ever heard in my life. But go ahead.
So I'm still right.
Boy, you talk about some disclaimers before you agree with me.
So I'm still right in that he's going to be the candidate, and this isn't bringing him down. Here's my amendment that I'm willing to offer. All right.
To my position.
Here's my Matt Gaetz.
Amendment 1.
Here's my Matt
Ladies and
Gaetz.
gentlemen, here evidence from Hamilton Berger to
Matt.
Perry Mason. By the way, I'm Perry Mason. Go ahead, Hamilton.
So if more comes out, that is, far worse than a couple of secret documents. I want the check where Xi Jinping signed Xi Jinping to pay to the order of Joe Biden for. You start getting some stuff that it has some traction in it, and it has to be something that is we can't even think of it right now. That's how bad it has to be for everything that you're saying to happen. If it keeps secret documents, Hunter, crack pipe, prostitutes, Chinese money, that is not going to move the needle at all. This has to be like the bodies are buried here, and
so you don't think being paid off by China is equivalent? What do you want? Do you want like some documents to say he sniffed the hair of Margaret Thatcher and she filed a secret
he wants
a secret communique with the president?
It has to be worse than that. It has to be. I don't even think documents showing that the election was rigged would even do it. I don't even think
first of all,
bodies in. I wouldn't believe dead bodies in his backyard would do it.
Well, listen, to think if Joe Biden actually thinks he is the best candidate with a chance to beat DeSantis or Trump in 2020. All I can say is that that's a thought process that happens when long COVID meets old age.
That's only the Penn Biden.
It's just not reasonable. But I don't doubt that Joe may think that about himself. I think Jill Biden has as much to do with this stuff as anyone.
And Hunter.
In terms of protecting Hunter. And I think if they get a deal that say that the next president, if it's a Democratic president, would pardon Hunter, and I think if part of the deal would be to speed up the prosecution process as much as possible, the best case for Hunter is to go on trial, be convicted, and be sentenced to prison as quickly as possible. Because you get a Republican president there, and we happen to win the Republicans win the Senate. That ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
You're going to spend some time in there. So I think they're weighing all of these things because, again, I go back to they have squeezed the Biden turnip as much as they can. They squeezed blood out of it. They've got 2 budget-busting, economic, devastating bills with the 2 COVID bills, of which Trump bears responsibility for the first one. And then this so-called infrastructure bill, and we're seeing the outrageous inflation that comes out of those kind of irresponsible policies. The war raging against Putin. I ran down the whole list. They've got everything that they want out of him, and now he's just not useful. He's going to be a couple of years older, running again, and I think this is substantial. This think tank, and I think scandal. This Biden Penn stuff, and I think they're going to get enough. I think they're going to abandon him. Well, anyway, that's just my position.
Bob, we're just going to have to wait and again try to tie this up. I don't know if you want my thought. We'll just have to wait and see what I know I blasted the investigation a minute ago, but right now that's all they have going. So we have to see what will come out of that.
But here's the difference, bro. Here's why I think it's going to be different. And that's why it's so important for Republicans to stay together on certain issues. And I agree with you. The 20 stated, held out and got some good concessions there. They have to be the burr in the Merrick Garland saddle to keep him aware that if he makes one wrong move, again, he's already culpable in a lot of things, a lot of fishy stuff going on in his decisions, that could make him impeachable. If we want to go there, it's out there.
Yeah.
We won't gun down the list. We can do it on another show, and it's because the Republicans do have at this point in history some really solid congressmen in there that are smart. They're aggressive. they are going to come like starving dogs at a meat house in this. Jim Jordan, these guys in there, they are first tier when it terms, okay, unleash them.
Agreed.
They will be 24/7 like Trump, 24/7 on this issue. And they're going to be watching how this investigation plays out, Pearl. And I think you didn't have that when you had a Democratic House. When they controlled all of government, Attorney General didn't have to worry about that.
2 points. And my first one is be careful what you wish for. And that's what I want to tell the Republican Party. Be careful what you wish for in the House members. We haven't really heard from Biden. Hunter. I haven't heard the kid speak in I don't know how long. Be very careful what you wish for.
He's been painting.
I'm sure.
You don't bother an artist when they're applying their art.
He's going to lay low.
He's doing something.
No,
He's
did
not
you
gonna
bother?
come out and make a bunch of noise.
You didn't see Van Gogh. You didn't see Rembrandt come out and talk to the public.
Hold on, but the Bidens have already showed us that they can perform when needed to. And I'm reminded of the first presidential debate when we were like, "Oh man, this guy, look, he's senile. He's a senior citizen. He's going to work.
Hey, watch it.
He's going to be put up.
Senior citizen.
He's going to
hear that?
He's not. There's nothing bad. I love senior citizens.
I got a senior breakfast this morning. I thought that was pretty good.
Did you get the discount?
Yeah.
Did it have eggs?
Yeah, but you know what? This senior discount stuff is it's such a scam. It's a okay. You're getting this Denny's. You're going to get a here's the senior the senior discount. They give you half the food.
I was going to say, is it half the food?
You're supposed to have less of an appetite.
Yeah, you're seniors. You guys don't eat that much.
Boy, what a broad swath you paint seniors with.
I love seniors.
Oh, all you seniors, you can't eat. You obviously haven't hung out with me at my house at 12. We break out the ice cream, the Ben and Jerry's, the commie ice cream.
Oh man,
I don't buy Ben.
Man, they're commies, but they make good ice cream.
They do.
That's like on the far left about Chick-fil-A. Man, they're against same-sex marriage. Ah, man, that's horrible. But I love my chicken.
But that line is 2 hours long.
I'm getting my grilled chicken with my waffle fries and a shake, baby. Go ahead, make your point.
Hunter Biden, you got to be careful because no one's heard from the kid. We're going to hear from him at some point. They're going to subpoena him. He's going to have to go. Maybe he avoids it somehow. But I don't think the guy is that stupid as we all think he is. I mean, the guy's got a degree from Yale and Georgetown. Not saying that those are like premier institutions or whatever. He probably got in because of his dad. But imagine if this kid comes out and impresses everyone like, oh, crapola, this guy actually can put two words together. That's the danger. You got to be careful what you wish for. So that's my side note with the Republicans.
So you think he could win some compassion?
Oh, without a doubt.
Because everybody's had somebody in their family that's dealt with drugs and this and that.
Unfortunately, yes. I mean,
that's why when you have great people like Jordan, who's great at a preface, he's great. He's just, and I'm just mentioning him because he's one of many that after Hunter gives his spiel about, and Jordan's just a master at saying stuff like, my heart really goes out for you and the things that you've been through. You've exhibited a way to come back from that, and you're an inspiration in that regard. But we're not talking about that, Mr. Biden. Unfortunately, we have to go into this area that was very injurious to this entire country. And item, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And then people go, hey, that's the way to – that's how Reagan did it.
Listen, but
that's how Bill Clinton won.
I believe absolutely.
No, he did. Because Bush was one of the most popular presidents ever. That's why nobody ran against him. And this obscure governor from Arkansas, and he got up there and he goes, "George Bush did a lot of good things. There's a lot of good things, but we can do better. We can do better.
And people believe
we have to do better." He didn't demonize him, and then people start saying, "Yeah." So when Jordan goes, "Yeah, I feel sorry for Hunter, but man, that was really a bad situation he put the country in." He's got to pay for that. He's paid for nothing.
But
he hasn't paid any kind of price really outside for anything that he's done. And people, I think it could be like, when a family member comes and you've dealt with it and dealt with it and dealt with it and you love them. And then they finally come back and they want more money to get to heaven. And you say, look, they're going to arrest you and I can't do anything. And I won't do anything. You need to go into jail.
Here's the other thing I want to tell people. Don't get caught up in emotion, because at the end of the day, there's law and there's facts. And Hunt and the Bidens have claimed this entire time he didn't break any laws. And at the end, and I haven't read every.
Oh wait, who didn't?
The Hunter. Theoretically, remember the Obama administration remember, their whole thing was like, hey, I mean, we checked it out, we're fine. I mean, I don't think they said we're fine, but you got to be careful.
When you're part of selling influence,
I agree.
That's a crime.
But what are the elements, though? And I'll look it up this weekend because remember, there's the law and then there's the facts, and we know that guilty people sometimes get off. So I want everyone to be careful. Don't let emotion take the day and be like, oh
absolutely.
Man, this guy, you know. I mean, you could have the OJ situation. The glove doesn't fit, right? And I mean, he can hold a crack pipe and say, look, this isn't my crack pipe. Look at how long it is in my. Just be careful. That's a horrible analogy, but. Just be.
Well, here's the thing, the difference. The Republicans will be controlling the committee. Do you see what Liz Cheney, how she cut people off, only brought such and such witnesses here.
Yeah.
The line of questioning that was allowed and not allowed. The Republicans are going to do much the same thing. I hope they're more fair and equal, in how they put the commission together. I hope they get some Democrats on there that get the farthest left that you can get.
Yeah,
on there.
I agree. Yeah,
but they're going to control the line of questioning with Hunter and hey, the thing, if he can make a great case and bring the evidence forth that he did nothing wrong, the problem is, and the focus is not really on Hunter. It's Joe Biden. Joe Biden was the big guy. Joe Biden was the man who was vice president at the time, going around selling access and influence to foreign countries, and many of them, and one of them, our biggest geopolitical foe in the world, China.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's something I think is going to get the people of America's attention, because we're seeing how China controls us, how the prices, the supply chain stuff, all of that stuff came from China. We made deals with China on everything, and every American family is hurting because of that. And they look, who were the geniuses that made those kind of deals with China? Now, it won't be solely Joe Biden. George Bush did it. Clinton did it. But Joe Biden's out there now taking money from this evil empire, the communist government, while America's suffering because of that. He's the one in the saddle now. I mean, did they get Hitler? No, he killed himself in the Butler. And I'm not comparing Joe Biden with Hitler. Maybe a hackneyed example. So please don't. I'm not. Biden is not Hitler, not even close to being Hitler. I'm just saying that when they did the Nuremberg trials, there's a lot of others that participated in the atrocities that Hitler was the head guy. And they would have got him. He would have been found and executed. But when you're in the saddle and you're at the point of this kind of stuff, you're going to have to pay a price for it. And I think they're going to find out. I think there's just knowing, that mission, which was to become as rich as possible in the few years he had left on this earth. Biden was making deals with everybody from Xi Jinping to the crown, the Prince of Saudi Arabia, who moonlights dismembering journalists that he doesn't like, to Russia, to Putin, to Zelensky. We know he makes deals with Zelensky.
I think it's ironic that some of the left-leaning media are already trying to spin this thing. I read one I forget if it's the Washington Post or New York Times, said that, well, Biden got caught with these classified documents. Maybe we need to reassess what we consider classified documents.
I saw that. But
then there was another take of, well, gee, they're going to do an investigation on Biden and do all of these things with the Republican Congress. And they said, this sounds like revenge. And I thought, yeah, well, if you don't think Jim Jordan's bent on something besides finding out the truth, he's gonna get his pound of flesh.
The Democrats certainly didn't exact any revenge on Donald Trump.
And that's my point. All of a sudden now, the other guys got caught with the document.
Yeah, it's real. But what I notice about that, Robert, is it's not those kind of reports are not pervasive. Most of the media, CNN, CBS, they're holding Biden accountable. They're saying, this is important stuff to them so far.
Right.
And it's been like just little spots where they've always been in unanimity on their messaging.
Guy could do no wrong.
Exactly.
But remember what? Biden's not going to give it up easily, folks. He said, don't beep with the Bidens.
Yeah.
And that man, we all laugh about it.
That's okay.
But that man ain't going to go. He's not going to go willingly. He might be old. He might be senile.
I'm not saying he's going to go willingly, but I'm telling you this. The left have officially turned on this president.
And
it will
yet.
You wait. It's going to get worse and
we
worse.
got to get a bet going on here.
Huh?
Another one?
What do you bet? Huh?
I'd say I'd eat a big steak,
you're
but that might put me in the hospital. So I don't want to put my health at risk. We got to figure something out.
Big salad.
About movie at Edwards Theater. We'll go.
Yeah, but I'll do
man, then that start rumors. You and me go together. That'd be big rumors.
You know that'd be at City Hall.
Yeah, okay. Hey, folks. Rapid Robert Bullabob, thank you for joining us. Randall, Guillermo, thank you.
Love
Jeremy
you,
in there in the booth keeping this thing together, thank you. And most of all, thank you, our listeners and our viewers. We couldn't do it without you. God bless, love you, and just remember, do your best and let God do the rest. And God willing, we'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye now.